Well, Kenny Bernstein and Don Shoemaker have both won at Englishtown, but neither Tony Shoemaker or Brandon Bernstein have. So it's going to be one of the Suns' day to shine here in New Jersey. Look at that race. Look at that. On the hole shot, Tony Shoemaker, 458, 325 miles an hour. And Tony Shoemaker takes his 5th win of the season, the most of any pro by almost double. And Dave Reef, you're there with Alan Johnson. That's a pretty emotional moment.
You bet. We're going to let Alan, Jim Oberhofer, and John Oberhofer, still representing the Kalitta family, have their moment as Don now comes in. Alan, among your list of many accomplishments, wins which now number into the 60s, you've done something today you've never done. Never hoisted one of these in Englishtown.
Yeah, you know, I got to hand this one to Tony. You know, I was behind all weekend, and he pretty much covered for me. You know, he had my back. He left on everybody today, and he did a great job. You know, obviously, with the things that happened this weekend, it's a tragedy for everybody, and I think the guy was looking out for me today, and my brother's got somebody to hang out with now. Thanks a lot. See you.
Like I said, this is the point of the day where all the emotions are going to start pouring out.
Tony Shoemaker, for the first time in his career, able to now savor a victory at a racetrack, and there are very few that he hasn't won in the past. What's it like to finally get the job done at Englishtown?
Simply incredible. I mean, you know, this has just been a tough week, and we're missing, you know, it's bittersweet, obviously. We won at a track we haven't won at before, but we had 3 cars missing, you know, and I always talk about how gratifying it is to win when you beat the best. We were missing 3 of the best, you know, and that's awful tough. But for the Army, you know, and I'll tell you this is very important, because the Army came to me and says, man, if you can win this, says, do you guys realize what Connie Kalitta does for the Army? He brings back the fallen comrades. And I thought, nah, and he's dealing with it today, this week. And, you know, to bring him home, that program that he flies over to Iraq, and what he has to go through week in and week out, you know, this is not, you know, I've given him a trophy before when his brother passed away, but this is not from me. This is from the Army. These guys asked me personally, and they were teared up when they said it, because it means a lot to them. And I think people need to realize that this trophy is extremely important, and it's going to sit on their shelf, you know, from the Army, from the soldiers, from the soldiers' families, from the people that respect what Connie's done for them, you know. So Charlotte giving me this trophy, this is just important. Lucas puts on a great race here. This is an outstanding facility. Great race, man. Just the final round. The U.S. Army, man, these guys are my heroes, each one of them. So I'd like to name all the sponsors, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it at that, because for this weekend, it's about the Army, it's about the Kalittas. So.
Thanks, Tony.
Quite a moment for the U.S. Army. Tony Shoemaker, and grand gesture there. Here are the points in Top Fuel. Tony Shoemaker is well out in front now. 244 back is Antron Brown. And Charlotte Lucas's, you saw her there. Her son Morgan is just 29 points out of 10th place in that all-important countdown to the championship. We send you back to the starting line now. Here's Dave Reef.
Steadfast and strong and leading Kalitta racing all weekend long. They were a rock. John Oberhofer, Jim Oberhofer. They've stood through this entire day. And Jim, when it's all said and done, 24 hours ago, I bet you didn't think you'd make it to this point, but what do you think Scott's thinking right now?
You know, it's a tough day for everybody here, you know, with Kalitta Motorsports and the whole racing community. But, you know, to be up here in the final round and to watch Greg Anderson and Dave Conley basically look like they have a funny car tire shake final, it was awesome. Tim Wilkerson and Mike Neff, you know, 2 class people, 2 class organizations, Tim Wilkerson and John Force. You know, it's hard to root for anybody. And, you know, in the final, Tony Shoemaker and Brandon Bernstein, I love them guys to death. And, you know, Tim Richards, Kim Richards, and Alan Johnson. I mean, they're great people. They're both class organizations. And, you know, today we became fans. We sat in the stands and we watched, and we realized why we love this sport so much. And, you know, I wish Scott was here with us. But, you know, I got a lot of memory. We just laughed all day about all our crazy stories about him. We love him. We miss him. And, you know, we love you, Kathy, Corey, and Colin, and Connie and Dougie and everybody. We love them. They're down in Florida, and we miss them. And it's going to get better. Everything's going to get better.
Jono, quickly, did racing help the healing today?
It helps. The biggest thing that helped was it was more people wanted to come up and shake our hands and said, no, it's not a day for shaking hands, it's a day for hugging and just remembering, you know, our good buddy, and just remembering all the love that everybody has. It's one big community out here, and everybody.
He's still racing, but you know the point is everybody's still hugging.
Yeah,
love you guys.
And the funny car points at the conclusion of competition on a very tough weekend here at Englishtown. Tim Wilkerson extends his lead over Ashley Force by 132 points, but look at that fight around 10th place. Bob Tasca has it right now, but that's a moving target.
20 points per round. Del Worsham and Gary Selzy are right there in the fight.
Motorcycle points for Pro Stock Motorcycle with Chip Ellis and his win. He really picks up on Andrew Hines and now only sits 78 back. And again, Steve Johnson, Sean Gann there knocking on the door of 10th.
Well, after the tragedy of yesterday, I think Scott Kalitta would be proud looking down on what he saw today with all the racers coming together. We saw some great racing for the fans he loved and the sport he loved. This one's for you, Scott.
What a weekend from that horrible moment in qualifying when we all realized that Scott was dead. To today's comp, it's filled with the tears of love and those half smiles of victory. It's been a rough weekend, but the racers have persevered. Scott Kalitta is gone, but he will always be a champion.